All right. So I'm going to review really quickly the intro so that everyone knows who watches this on the replay. Um, I am Monica, the Purple Box organizer. I'm a home coach, a professional organizer, and a life coach. So if you're new to me, hello and welcome. But we're getting into the April 2022 masterclass. Why do I feel overwhelmed? We're going to talk about how do I get into this mess? What can I do to get out? And what is my story creating? Okay, so I'm going to start with number one. How did I get into this mess? Okay, most of us kind of probably have an idea, but I'm going to talk about a couple of scenarios, and I want you to think about if you've been in this situation before, or you know somebody who has, or you've felt these feelings before. We're going to talk about how to get through that. Okay, it was about a year ago, I think, that I watched a virtual training. I think it was put on by the Life Coach School. One of the speakers, who is certified to the Life Coach School, talked about overwhelm. And I just made some scratches of notes and kind of loved what he said. Didn't have any idea that I would want to share this later when I learned more of what I went through with my certification. So I had to kind of reverse and go back and look him up. So his name is Dex Randall. And he works with men in the corporate world who are dealing with burnout, how to deal with that and how to get out. So it's a lot like overwhelm. So he talked about a few ways that we get into overwhelm. And I want you to pay attention that these are all behaviors, whether they're things that we do or we don't do. You procrastinate. You shut down completely. You stop doing things. You forget about self-care. You try to do it all and you hit burnout. Maybe you get sick and you're totally exhausted. Okay, these are all actions that we do or don't do. And here's a few more that I thought of. You have life events. Maybe someone gets sick, or you have a baby, you're moving, maybe there was a death in the family. You said yes to things that you don't have time for in your schedule. You said yes to something you don't have mental bandwidth to accomplish. You said yes to something because you don't think no is a complete sentence. You slip into perfectionism. It has to be perfect before you say it's done, which actually means it will never be done because you'll never be perfect at anything. It will never be perfect. So it just never seems done. Or you say no to everything. You feel like there's so much on your plate, I can't do anything else. So you end up saying no to anything, no to favors, no to service, no to other people even trying to help you because you can't fathom the idea of somebody seeing where you're at or thinking of a way that they could help you. Okay. So let's talk about stories that we're telling ourselves. Dex says that sometimes overwhelm seems like brain freeze or feels like brain freeze. You kind of think when you're in that state of overwhelm, it's kind of like drinking that Slurpee too fast. And you're like, I can't move. I can't think. I don't know what to do. Okay. He also says that we tend to have black and white thinking where we feel like if I can't do all of it, then I can't handle any of it. And when I was thinking about that, I thought about my 7-year-old when he looks at his math homework. He'll look at the math page and the whole page to him looks daunting and overwhelming. But the way to complete it is only one problem at a time, right? If you just did one of the math problems, then you could go to the next one. It would be silly for me to tell him, just do all the problems at once, and then you'll be done faster, right? So why do we expect that of ourselves? To do all the things. I have to do all of them right now, and then I'll be out of overwhelm. It just doesn't make sense, okay? Dex also says maybe we get stuck in should thinking, which is our brain's way of setting expectations for ourselves, which, might I add, is also usually layered with judgment. We're judging ourselves that we have expectations of how it should look, how it should be done, how it should be good enough or not good enough, why it's not, okay? Let's move on to point number 2, right? Point number 1 was kind of reminding me of, I think most of us know how we get an overwhelm, right? Maybe there's other times we're like, oh, wow, that happened faster than I thought, or I just wasn't thinking, wasn't paying attention, and this is what happened. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the comedian, his name is slipping my mind now. Help me out, Shalene. he talks about going to the doctor and talking to the doctor about heartburn. And the doctor gives him this, O'Brien Regan, that's his name. The doctor gives him this list of things that give him heartburn. And he's like, well, I know how to get it. So that kind of reminded me, like, most of us know how we're getting into overwhelm, but making a broader list, I feel like, can help us shed some light on, like, okay, that's where that's happening too. Okay. So moving on to point number 2, what can I do to get out? Okay. And you can kind of word that in lots of different ways, right? Do we want to get out? Do we want to get through, working through it, getting over it? Because it's probably going to happen again. But if we are mindful of it and we have some tools, that's how we can get through it. Okay. Dex says action is required to get out. When we're in overwhelm, we might think we can't do any of it, but we can. Maybe only 10% or 50%, or we could even do 90%. But action is required. And I was thinking about this because I like to ask a lot of questions. Why? Why is action required? If you continue not to take action, then you're right back to being stuck in your thoughts and your stories. Or maybe the action that you are taking isn't helping you to get out because you're focusing on the wrong actions, or spending too long on one action, or spending not enough time taking action. Okay, maybe you're doing some things, but not enough things. Okay, be sure not to get stuck thinking again that I have to do all the things. You'll get right back into burnout, right back into that overwhelm. Okay, so here's Dex's list of 5 things to do to get out of overwhelm. Okay, he says, number 1, pick the most urgent task. Number 2, set a timer and start. Timers give you constraint and discipline, which are 2 things that you're not using when you're in overwhelm. So let's quickly talk about those. What is constraint and discipline? These are limitations that you put on yourself to simplify your life. It's cutting down the number of things that your mind thinks it has to do so that it feels better, right? If I do all these things, then I'll feel better, which is not true, because there's always things coming in. You're like, oh yeah, I have to do that. Oh yeah, I have to do that. Okay. So we want to kind of put some limitations. I'm only going to do this task and then I'll do the next one. I'm not going to task switch and try to make myself kind of crazy. Number 3 says, do only the one task for the set timer and you'll feel better when that task is done. Number 4, use your doing energy and not the overwhelm energy. So overwhelm has energy. It's just draining. It's exhausting. It doesn't feel good. Nobody wants to be in it. No one signs up for, yeah, I'm gonna hop into overwhelm today. That sounds fun. But use your doing energy, right? So once you start a task, it can give you motivation to keep going and do other things. Okay. And then number 5, he says, don't change tasks. Okay. You decide to do a task. Don't decide again, because you already did that. Okay. Before you start, decide which one is the best one for you at that time, and then do it. Okay. Your brain is going to be a little distracted because it's trained to look out for you and keep you safe. But you have to remind it, okay, brain, thanks for coming, but I'm going to stick to this one task because this is the most important one that I've decided I'm going to focus on today. Okay. All right. We just looked at one side of overwhelm and then the other, right? How we get in, ideas to get out. Okay. But there's so much more in the middle that we don't always pay attention to. Okay. And I'm going to share a slide with you and show you what I'm talking about. And I'm also going to take a drink. So excuse me. So on one side, we have emotions. On the other side, we have effect, or the result that we get. Okay, so if you look on this side with emotions, I came up with a list. A couple of these are Dex's, and the other ones I came up with too, that kind of explain maybe the feeling that you're having when you're in overwhelm. So we've got confused. Maybe you feel disconnected with life or with others, family members. Maybe you feel fragile. Like if anyone is to say anything or pile anything else on your plate, you're going to break, right? Maybe you feel panicked, left out, defensive, powerless, Secretive. You don't want anyone to know that this is the state that you're in. That is an important one to be aware of. Maybe you feel indecisive or just simply discouraged, okay? That you can't seem to get a hold on things, right? And then the effect over here, you're stuck in your story of, I can't handle anything, right? So when we talk about a story, we're talking about things that are in our minds, like a thought that's in our mind or a sentence. This is a story. This statement is not a fact, okay? I can't handle anything. That is not true. You might feel that way because you're in overwhelm, but that's not a true statement. So if you're hanging on to this story, you're probably going to have any one of these feelings and have these as an effect. Maybe you're going to miss out on opportunities, right? Because you feel overwhelmed and you said no to something. So you might miss out on opportunities. You might miss fun experiences. You might damage or halt relationships, okay? Oh, I didn't screen share, did I? Ha ha ha. Hold on. See, you guys, putting me in charge of technical things is silly. Okay, here we go. I will show you. There we go. Now you can see. Okay, so we've got the emotions on this side: confused, disconnected, fragile. Think of these emotions. Are any of these feelings that you felt before when you've been in overwhelm? Okay, have you ever felt like this is your story? This is kind of true for you. I can't handle anything. Okay, do you feel like maybe, and this is not coming from a judgment place, but maybe you have missed out on opportunities or experiences, or maybe you've had to put a relationship or lots of relationships kind of on hold, okay, due to trying to deal with your overwhelm. Okay. Okay, so many of us tend to think that due to our emotions, we then have the effect, right? We feel this way, and so then we have this. But in fact, our emotions drive what is our behavior. And if we let them, then that gives us our effect, okay? If we let them drive our behavior instead of kind of taking a minute to think and then deciding what we want our behavior to be, okay? So it's important to look at our emotions and pause to feel what we're feeling. And this helps us have first compassion on ourselves. And then it can also have help us to heal over time if it's something that's, maybe it's a traumatic event or something that might take some time, and not just, oh, I was feeling like this lady was rude to me. I'm going to look at it. Maybe she was just being honest. I can kind of move forward from here and not worry about it, okay? But then we are going to look at how that's been driving our behaviors. Remember, that's what we're doing or not doing that's not serving us. Sorry. What we are doing or not doing that is not serving us. So it's not helping us to not take action, or it's not helping us to take the action that we're taking, right? If I have dishes and laundry and a house to clean, and I'm feeling overwhelmed because it's a lot of it because everyone's been sick, but I go in the pantry and I reach for the Oreos instead, that is action, that is a behavior, but it's not going to help get those things done that I really need to get done or that I want to get done, okay? Okay, so we're going to talk about what's called the feasible paradigm. I'm going to pull up another screen share. There we go. Okay, perfect. So this is basically a page from one of the lessons in the Mind Firm method. This is one of the lessons that I go through if you join my Choose to Be You program. And so I thought this was very relevant to what we were talking about today, overwhelm. So I want to kind of go through this quickly and kind of tell you. So they call it feasible, and you can see as it goes down, it's just an, oopsie, sorry. It's just an acronym. Going the wrong way. Come on, Monica. It's just an acronym. So they kind of squish them together to say feasible. But the actual word defined, feasible, is capable of being accomplished or brought about. So it's possible. And then they call this the feasible paradigm. And the definition of paradigm is a set of ideas or framework that explains how you view reality, right? So if a situation was to happen to all of us who are here right now, we would all view it differently. We might not all agree on exactly how it happened or exactly how we're perceiving the situation. This is just kind of how our own experience is to the situation that's happening, the circumstance that's happening, okay? We're gonna actually just talk about the middle part, but the entire paradigm in its whole is we have facts or things that would be true in a court of law. You could argue them in a court of law that is a true fact. It is 32 degrees outside because it says so on the thermometer. That's a fact, and that's something that you can't argue or say, well, I actually think it's 42 degrees, okay? The facts cause us to tell a story, right? Lady said such and such. That's a fact. If she said you write out, she said the exact words, then you're going to kind of tell a story in your head of like how you perceive that. That causes us to feel an emotion, and emotions are what drive our behavior. Behavior obviously gives us our effect, and the effect determines our legacy. So if we keep telling this story of whatever it is, we're going to continue to have it, which is why they put it in this cyclical pattern here so that we see, okay? What this helps us do, it just kind of gives us a framework of understanding, and it's a really powerful awareness tool to go, oh, I can see now how this is all affecting what I'm looking at, how I'm feeling, and what my effect is, and then legacy. This legacy can always be tied back to the story, okay? So this is what we use to mindfully decide if we like how we're showing up and our reasons for showing up that way. Sometimes we might be fine with feeling, you know what, I want to feel angry in this situation. It's perfectly acceptable, and that's fine. Other times we might need to say, okay, I'm going to back down just a little bit and cool off a little bit and go back to the drawing board. Okay. So like I said, we're just going to look at story, emotion, behavior, and effect. So story, your story goes here, the emotion, what am I feeling? And we want to tie this down to one emotion. If we have like overwhelm and stress and sadness and depression, that's too many things to look at in one paradigm. You just want to pick your strongest emotion that you're happening to have going on. You can obviously do more paradigms with those other emotions, but you want to choose the one that's most prevalent. Okay, and that emotion is going to show you what your behaviors are. How am I acting? So my coaches like to say, if you're overwhelmed or your feeling is stress, if I was in the room, what would I notice that you're doing? Okay, and that's a good way to kind of see like what your behavior is. And then from your behavior is what your effect is, right? So if I'm stressed because there's lots of laundry and cleaning and dishes to do, but my behavior is going into the pantry and getting Oreos and then sitting down and watching Netflix, what is my effect? My effect is that I still have dishes and laundry and cleaning to do, right? Okay, so we're going to put this in a real life example, or an example I made up. Okay, so I put in the story. We have two examples. I gave like a life coaching example and I have an organizing example, okay? So our story might be, I'm too stressed out to make plans with anyone. My emotion that I chose for this story is powerless. I feel like I just can't. I don't have any power because I'm too stressed out and I have too many things to do. So that is my emotion. Obviously, this is just kind of a list that I came up with. Maybe my behavior would be that I say no to every invitation. I just can't handle it. I can't do anymore. I don't have time. I can't put anything on my plate. I probably am not going to make very good use of my time because I'm stressed out. I might be, again, watching Netflix, eating Oreos. I might ruminate about the person or the people, what they think about me for declining the invitations and go, oh, I wonder if they think I'm rude or I'm not social. What are they going to think about me? Okay. You might also overthink other decisions that you're trying to make. If trying to plan anything with anybody else feels overwhelming, then probably other decisions are going to feel overwhelming as well. Okay, and then what is the effect that that gives you? You're going to miss out on events, opportunities, and relationships. You might not be able to be effective with your time. You might be stuck in that victim mentality that you can't do certain things. Okay, oh, I just can't because I'm too stressed. Okay, that's a victim mentality and it's not a fun one to be in. So we want to try to work our way out of that. So all of that, all these effects really kind of take you back up to the story. If you're stuck on keeping this story that I'm too stressed out to make any plans with anyone, you're still going to have a lot of these same things. You might feel a few different types of emotions in here. Maybe one day you feel powerless. Maybe one day you feel indecisive, or you're just kind of like on your guard, right? If somebody dares talk to me or adds anything to my plate, it's not going to be okay. But you'll still end up with a lot of these similar things. So the idea of the paradigm here is to show you, do you want to stick with this story? Or can we maybe wiggle it loose a little bit? Okay, so let me show you on the next slide what another possibility could be. Now, the story doesn't have to be, I say yes to everything. That's not the idea. We don't want to go to the complete opposite because that's probably not going to be true for you. And it's not going to be you showing up as your authentic self. Okay, but I have the power to decide on events and experiences I'd like to be present for. My emotion could be that I'm confident. I'm not powerless. I can choose. Some things I might want to say no to, and other things, you know what, I don't want to miss out on that. So I'm going to be confident in my decision that yes, I'm going to do that. My behavior could be I keep up on scheduling so I know what's coming up in my day or the week and month. I assess invitations as they come, so whether I'd like to go or not. I make good time management decisions today and for the future. I'm confident that what I decide is right for me. I'm not spending time worrying about what others think of me. This is like just the biggest time waster of all. And I know that we all do it. It's just a very human thing. But worrying so much about what others think, they're probably not thinking those things and they're worrying about what other people think of them. Okay, so not spending time on that is really good. And then your effect, if your behaviors are exactly what you want them to be, your effect could be that you're proud of what you do in a day. You see the fruits of your labors of good decision making. You're enjoying activities, experiences, and relationships that you want to be involved in and that feel right to you, right? Again, we're not saying yes to every activity. We're not saying yes to every relationship just so we don't miss out. They might not be right for you, okay? So the ones that are good for you, right for you. You might be able to let go of worrying about judgment, even if I say no, and you can also enjoy more of your time. Wouldn't that be nice, right? Let go of some things so you can enjoy more of your time. All right, so here is an organizing example, okay? This one I said I'm terrible at keeping my home organized. Your emotion might be discouraged that you just can't seem to keep up on it, right? Some of your behaviors could be that you actually ignore the chores instead of facing them. You might blame other household members for the mess. You might allow more and more piles of clutter to pile up. You might continue not to ask for help, right? When you know, like, I really need help with this, but I just can't. I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, and I don't want to ask for help. You might avoid implementing systems that would help your home function better. And then your effect could be that your home continues to stay unorganized or your systems continue to not work because you don't implement those systems, okay? You continue to feel discouraged since that's an emotion. It all, again, continues to happen this way if we're keeping this story, right? And again, I'm not saying you have to say, I'm amazing at keeping my home organized, or I'm amazing at my social media strategy for my business. It's not about that black or white. This doesn't feel good. So how can we just kind of wiggle it loose a little bit? Okay. What could I do to get me out of all of this and feeling discouraged? Okay. So your story could be, I know just the professional organizer to hire to help me get organized. Okay. Whether it's your home, your business, your life, all the things. just plop them down. Help me. Perfect. Okay. If you have this strong story, you're going to feel a more fun emotion, like motivated. That's one of my favorite emotions to feel. When I feel motivated, I feel like I can take on anything. I love feeling motivated. It doesn't always come easy, but you have to start up here with your story, with what's up in here. How can I fix that just a little bit, or come up with the right words to help myself feel what I want to feel? Okay. Your behaviors might be start with the biggest pain point and tackle it by mapping out a plan. Okay, wherever you're at in your journey of your business, or starting your organizing plan in your home or in your business, start with the biggest pain point and tackle it by mapping out a plan. Okay, then you're also going to want to celebrate your wins, which then creates more momentum and more motivation. Those are also things that we want, right? We want more of those. And then you continue working on your action plan one item at a time, right? Not all the things at a time, but one at a time. And be more effective that way too. And then the actual effect, if you're having all this great motivation and you're motivated and you've got momentum going, the effect could be that you're able to tackle one challenge at a time and continue making progress toward getting your home more organized. Okay. All right. I'm going to save that for a minute. Oops, hold on. There we go. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit, but it's important to know that your story is not fact. It can feel very true to you, but if you're willing to let go of it, that's when you can make the progress, right? We want to ask ourselves, what could my story be? What do I want it to be? Okay, do I want to be stuck in I hate mornings and just feel like that forever? It's not going to make me want to get out of bed and face my kids that have to get to the bus, or face my toddler that's going to give me lots of things to do and clean up after. But if I think about another statement, like I can face mornings, right? I don't have to say, I love mornings, because I don't think that's ever going to be the case for me. But I can kind of wiggle that loose a little bit. Instead of saying I hate mornings, go for I can face mornings, or I'm getting better at mornings. Okay. So I came up with some tangible steps that you can take to get out of overwhelm, because sometimes we're in a bit of overwhelm depending on where we're feeling it, that we can be like, you know what, I'm just going to take this list, make this list and start with number one. And that helps. Sometimes you're like, I'm just going to take a nap and then face whatever I need to face. Sometimes we're in overwhelm so deep, whether it's our house or our business or our family relationships, maybe your health, maybe you're so far deep into overwhelm that you cannot think of the most basic things. So I came up with a list of 12 items for you to do. I want you to make sure that you eat, feed your body. You cannot do a lot of things well. Most things you can't do well unless your body has fuel in it. Okay. You get to decide what that fuel is, but make sure your body has some food. Okay. Number two, make sure all household members are fed that you are responsible for. I'm not saying you need to go and cook for all the adults in the house and make sure your husband has dinner, or your roommates or whatever. Just make sure the ones that you're responsible for, right? For me, that would be me and my 3 kids. Are we all fed? Depending on what time of day it is, great, we're all fed. We can move on to the next step. Okay. Number 3, what is the schedule for today? Okay, what do I have going on? What are some must-do things that you've already committed to? I need to get my boys ready. I need to get them to the bus. And then I need to make sure my toddler is fed and safe and changed, so that I can get some things done. Do some laundry, do some spiffing, finishing touches on the masterclass. Okay. Are there any doctor appointments that you have that day? Anything that you paid money to do? Okay, we're going to talk about, or we want to think about those must-do things you've already committed. If I don't do this, I'm going to miss out on the money type of thing. Okay, we're not talking about all the extra things that your brain's going to try to put on there, but what is already on your schedule? What have you already committed to? Okay. Number 4, anything else this week? Look ahead. Is there anything else this week that's coming up that you need to take care of, or you don't want to miss, or just that you need to be aware of. Okay, Friday, so-and-so has a meeting, and Saturday, so-and-so has a birthday party. So just want to kind of keep aware. You don't have to do anything necessarily about those things today, but just be aware of it. Okay. Number 5, have you moved your body in whatever way you like to move, whether it's yoga, running, getting on the elliptical, a bike ride, you hit the gym, you dance, you stretch, you meditate. I would count that just kind of having a rejuvenation of your mind and body kind of talking to each other. Pick something and move your body. It doesn't have to be major. It doesn't have to be long, but just getting your body moving is so much good things. That wasn't a good sentence, but that will bring you so many good things up here and in here and just help you throughout your day. Okay. Number 6, get water in your body. I just need signs all over the house for this one for me. Unless I'm talking and my throat's getting scratchy like now, I don't remember water a lot. So I have to like make signs. I have to put them out. I have to get out my thermos. So pull out your favorite water bottle and just start getting some water in your body. Okay. We're not trying with any of these things to like reach a specific goal. Oh, I said, I was going to drink 60 ounces of water and it's 5 p.m. Let's probably not try to get all that in today, but just do your best for today. And then you can start with some specific goals the next day. Number 7, are you showered and ready for the day? Okay. Take care of that so you're ready for what's on your schedule. Okay. I am the worst at this. I always put that off and try to get a bunch of things done because I'm scurrying and I'm hurrying and I want to be fresh for certain things like client calls. But take a shower so that you're ready for what's on your schedule. And then you can fit in those other little tasks as you go. Okay. Number 8, have a notepad or list handy. So as you're going, you're probably going to have ideas and things that you remember and thoughts that you don't need to keep up here, but you can keep that notepad handy so that you can write them down. Okay. We want to try to stop trying to keep it all in here, get it down on paper. Okay. So that you can have a release from your mind. Okay. Number 9, collect and sort all the dirty laundry. Okay. And then start a wash and set a timer so you can switch it when it's done. That seems simple, but it doesn't seem simple when you're in overwhelm and all of the hampers upstairs or wherever they are in the rooms or bathrooms are overflowing and the laundry room's overflowing. And because everyone was sick, there's so much laundry to do. Collecting and sorting all the laundry might seem overwhelming, but it's just a place to start. Get that load in and set your timer so that when it's ready, it can go in the dryer. And then I don't care if it can sit there in the dryer and just be done. And then it's ready for when you have a sec and you can do that. When you have a little bit more energy, you can do that, but just get one load through. Okay. Number 10, rinse the dishes and load the dishwasher. And if at that point, if it's full, go ahead and run it. And if there's anything else left, do you have time to wash it? Great, go for it, get at it. If not, at least rinse and then stack the rest. Okay. You will thank yourself tomorrow or tonight if you at least get all the food gunkies off and stack them. It'll be easier to hit that up the next time you're ready. Okay. Number 11, make a dinner plan for tonight. Doesn't matter to me what it is, whether you're ordering online for pickup or ordering for delivery. Stick something in the crock pot. Set a timer for when you are going to start the food in the crock pot or in the oven or the Instapot. So your timer goes off and you go, oh, I got to stick the thing in the oven, or I got to start the oven and then stick the thing in. Okay. So you know when to do that. So it's ready for when you want to eat and everybody else is hungry. Okay. Or you can set an alarm to go off. This is my favorite one on Saturday. It goes off for when I need to get in the car and hit the drive-through, because that's what we do on Saturday nights. We kind of decide where we're going and everybody gets to pick what they want within reason. Number 12 is come up with an affirmation for when you're in overwhelm. Okay, so we want a thought that's not negative or derogative towards ourselves, right? You idiot, you shouldn't be here, or you're so dumb, or you're terrible at this, you should not be in this situation. We want to stay away from those because those are not helpful. Those are not going to be serving us. But something simple like, yep, I've been here before and I know the steps to get out. Okay. If you need more direction like these steps, go ahead and head over to my YouTube channel, Purple Box Organizer, and watch my spring fling video. It's entitled Spring Fling Lost. And it goes through those steps and kind of a few more to kind of help you get through there. That's a perfect one where you're like, oh, I don't know where to start. You can start there, okay? But doing something, anything, even one thing is better than nothing every time. One thing is better than nothing every time, okay? Don't get caught in that thought of tomorrow me will handle it. Do one thing now for tomorrow you, because tomorrow you will then thank you. Okay, do the one thing now that today you can be proud of. Okay, when you're going to bed at night, what do you want to be thinking? Well, I didn't switch the laundry and I didn't do the dishes and I forgot to do this and that and that. Or do you want to be able to say, you know what? It was a rough day, but I got that one load of laundry done and I at least rinsed and stacked the dishes. Go me. Okay. If you liked this masterclass and you'd like to work with me, whether we work on your home or your business or your mindset or all three, that is an option. Let me tell you how you can do that. I have my 50-minute power pack, which is $97. We can do organizing, home management, mindset, business strategies. That also includes 1 week of Marco Polo access to me. So you can ask questions, you can get feedback, and of course I can cheer you on because I like that part. Or there's the Productive Planner. This is a very, very popular one. It's a 4 50-minute coaching session package for $397. Again, organizing, home management, mindset, social media strategy. So we kind of see where you're at and we make progress in that direction. If you need home systems set up, we can set those up so that you can get those taken care of and you find that it bleeds over into other areas in a positive way. This is a great way to set goals and to have some accountability in accomplishing them, right? A lot of times if people put money, like they call it skin in the game, and you know you're going to be accountable to someone, you're more likely to get those things accomplished. So don't sit in that space of like, I know I need help, but I don't know. Take a risk. I'm a good risk to take, okay? It's really helpful to have my eyes on what you're doing and kind of guide you in the right direction. So that includes 5 weeks of Marco Polo access to me. We can kind of talk through your ideas, give you feedback. And I've gotten good feedback actually on using Marco Polo. It's helpful for people to be able to talk things out because sometimes just by saying them, they decide like, yeah, I really like that. Or maybe that doesn't make as much sense. Or I've made them say, what is your offer? What is your plan? Because saying it out loud helps them just kind of come up with a little bit more clarity on what their needs are or what their expectations are, okay? My newest offer is called the Choose to Be You program. It's a 16-week one-on-one coaching experience. And like I mentioned before, it's like talks about the feasible paradigm. It's the entire Mind Firm method workbook that you get to keep and reuse, of course. It includes lessons, writing spaces, and asks great questions to help pull things out of you that you wouldn't normally think about or think that we need to talk about. It is amazing. It helps you just kind of see where you're at. Sometimes in our sessions, we're able to mend some things that you're struggling with, and then we are able to make progress and move forward. I have 2 clients that are going through this right now. They're getting closer to the end of it. So, and they're making amazing progress. It is so great to see where they started and kind of where they're at right now, and kind of peek back on their lessons of where their mindset was and how far it's come, and listen to them describe how they think about things or how they approach things differently now. The cost is $2,000. And there are payment plans available if you need that. So you can talk to me about that. But this program, just in a nutshell, helps you learn the power of your thoughts and learn how to process your emotions, right? We don't want to tuck emotions under the rug because they always seem to come back out, and sometimes even stronger at that point. But I help you learn the process of self-coaching so that you can live your best life and move forward with purpose. Of course, you get my full support in this process, and I guide you through the weekly lessons. You also get Marco Polo access for this as well. It's like having me as your personal coach in your back pocket. Before I work with any of my clients, no matter what package they choose, I do strongly suggest that you set up a free 30-minute cocoa chat with me. And that's so we can kind of get on the same page of where you're at, what program would work best for you. And then you can ask any questions that you'd like about what it's like to work with me, what other questions you might have about how the program works and how it's going to run for you or work for you. After that 30-minute cocoa chat, I just let you go. There is absolutely no obligation. It is a great chance for you to just ask questions, see kind of what it would be like to work with me, and then you can decide on your own. Okay. If you're not ready to work with me, that's totally fine. I'd love for you to continue following me on social media. I'm the Purple Box Organizer on Instagram, on Facebook, and I also have a YouTube channel that I mentioned. So please reach out to me if you have any questions or you need any clarification from this masterclass. Reach out to me and I would be happy to help you with that.